I'm Tammy Rivera, Executive Director and Lead Organizer of the organization. I want to remind you guys, if you want access to the other forums that we've had previously in English or in Spanish, you can find them in our Facebook page or in YouTube. I want to remind you that, like always, our personnel is here with you guys and for you guys. And you can have access to us like always. Well, not face to face yet, because we're still in the pandemic. And the area where we are, our office, and where a lot of our personnel works and lives is 53215. And right now, there's still a spike of COVID. So we haven't been able to be with you guys in person, but you can follow us. Call us 414-672-8090. Email soc@socmilwaukee.org. Or, of course, our website, www.socmilwaukee.org. Remember that we're doing everything that we can to bring you guys information, resources, and ways that you guys can take action about coronavirus. So take advantage of the website and all the information. If you guys appreciate what you're hearing in the forum, if you like the guests, the information, the conversations, please help us with the survey. There's only 3 or 4 super simple questions. And if you help us with that, and if you let us know what we can change, what's helping you, and by participating, you let us know what to change. We have already changed a lot of things, and we can continue with the forum too, now that this pandemic is a lot longer than we thought. And of course, everything that is shared here on Facebook, all the links and everything is right here. So let me see who is with us today. We can see how many people are with us, but we can't see your names. So say hi in the comments. Okay, let me see who is with us. When the names show up, I'll say hi to you guys. Now, obviously, we're working virtually. That is why you don't see us with our masks. Of course, we're following the rules, but I'm at home, so there's no need to have a mask. So I just wanted to clear that up. Like all of our forums, we're going to remind you that the opinions and point of views shared here are not necessarily those of SOC. We are a certain type of nonprofit group, so there's certain things that we can talk about, certain waters we can swim in and others that we can't. The forum for today, like I mentioned before, Wednesdays, now that we're on our new model every week, so Wednesdays is in Spanish. That was one of the recommendations that you guys made on one of the surveys. Have a Spanish forum. So here we are doing it. So let me let you guys know what else is coming up this week so you don't miss out. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to focus on COVID-19. And we're going to have Jamal Smith. He's been with us before. He is the manager of the Office of Violence Prevention for the city of Milwaukee. And then Friday, we're also going to have our organizers with us, leaders, and the community development group. And if you guys haven't met them yet, you're going to meet them. You're also going to have the new captain, Captain Salazar, with us, the new captain of District 2. And I know that he is trying to respond to all the needs that are coming up with the relationship between the community and the police. So, in just a minute, I am going to introduce our guest of the day. But there is a very serious theme that unfortunately we have to keep talking about it. And we're talking about the abuse of the power that the police have and what happened in Kenosha. So we have a very special guest for you guys today in just a minute. So I do want to update you guys about what's happening with the CCC so that you guys know today. I'm going to ask Marisol if she can share the screen. There's a picture of the new leadership of the group. There you go. You guys heard it here before. Nate Hamilton. He is the president. He was voted in. And then he chose Camille Mays and Stephen Johnson as his vice presidents of the committee. So I just wanted you guys to know that. And we're still in that work. And we want to tell them thank you and that we appreciate their leadership. So thank you, Marisol. And to remind you guys that is the group, the committee, that is leading up the police reform locally by representing the voices of the community. We did 45 focus groups to talk about how we can come up with a solution. We did 18 different organizations, and the results of that are in a complete report and recommendations to the Fire and Police Commission. So that is the group that's leading that. There are others in the group too, but since we're talking about what happened in Kenosha, I wanted to be sure to include this. Tomorrow, we will have information from Gabby too, because we're going to have a CCC meeting as well. So, got to be aware of what's happening. Now, the theme of the day, I'm sure that you guys have seen the video of the tragedy of the event that happened in Kenosha with Jacob Blake in front of his kids with the police. And up till now, we know that, thank God, he's alive. Looks like he's paralyzed from the neck or the waist down. I'm not sure. But 7 gunshots from a police officer. Well, the same thing keeps happening. There was an African-American young man was shot by police, and now there's so much tension and conflict all over. We're already divided. Now it's getting worse. But anyways, I know that Kenosha is a community, a close community, but because it's about police reform and police brutality, and all of that has to do with racial justice, we wanted to talk to somebody from Kenosha. One of the rules of being an organizer is that the people that are going through, what's happening, you got to talk right to them. So I am very grateful for today's guest. Came with us last minute, and I'm going to introduce Yoger Aguilar. the president of Chapter 354 of LULAC, representing UW Parkside and from the community of Kenosha. So let's give him a good welcome. Hello, good afternoon. How are you guys? Well, we're here, kind of sad. Obviously very bothered by what keeps happening in the community. But we're happy that you're here with us. Now, we're going to start so that people get to know you a little bit. Share a little bit about you personally and the role that you have with LULAC. Well, first, thank you for having me here on your program. My name is Yoger Aguilar. I'm from Caracas, Venezuela, and I've been in the US about 5 years. My position in LULAC started with Chapter 320 in the city of Kenosha and Racine. And then little by little, I started learning and getting involved, becoming a leader in the community, being at the different LULAC events. And then it kind of grew to a national level. And then we got to the point where we had to find a group of good leaders that we have today. And then we created a new chapter, a new council, 354, so that we can keep serving the community of Kenosha. And we also wanted to get young leaders involved, especially the students at Parkside, at the University of Parkside. So I've been president for about 2 years now. Okay. So explain a little bit, what is LULAC? Yeah, LULAC is a League of Latin American Citizens. We're an organization that is at a national level all over the US and Puerto Rico, talking about civil rights as a Hispanic, as a Latino citizen. So we try to get involved in legal battles for civil rights, for rights just as a human being. Today, we have more than 91 years as an organization. And every day we grow and we keep forming and getting more and more people involved, expanding, growing, and just trying to be more present in the community so that we can help the Latino community. And if we remind today's participants, the 90th anniversary of LULAC was celebrated here in Milwaukee, right? Yeah, it was a conference. And then we also have an association, a strategic association with LULAC. And that's how we started our base organizer conference as well. So we have a really great relationship with the organization. And you guys have been around for a long time. So probably the oldest, right? So you guys probably have a lot of work right now. You're very well known all over the nation here. And especially all the battles on the borders, different disasters, and the horrible tragedies that are happening right now, families that are separated, all the kids that are still down in cages, and then, of course, everything with COVID. The fight and the tragedy just keeps going. Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening in Kenosha now? How is the community doing? Especially with the latest events, the shooting and the police and all that. Yeah, well, I can tell you when that happened on Sunday, it felt you quickly felt the community participating in meetings and protests specifically around that. It was at a city level all over Kenosha, and that was on Sunday. People showed up at the site of the shooting. There were so many people. And then after that, they manifested and started to spread all over the city. And all the way to the courts and the police station, wanting to talk to the police and tell them that they wanted that cop under arrest, all of the officers that had been involved in the shooting. On Monday, we were trying we saw all kinds of damage to businesses, different materials. There was graffiti. And there was stuff sprayed all over the walls. And then there was a local press conference with different organizations. We're trying to communicate with them to help, try and to talk about the situation and what's happening. Unfortunately, the press conference couldn't happen like we wanted to because of security reasons. They decided to move the area where we wanted to have the meeting. We wanted to have it at a park. And they said because of security reasons and what we were going to talk, it should be inside the police station. But unfortunately, the people that were going to talk, nobody had access to the building. So it was impossible. So through different kinds of communications, some people were outside, some people were inside, and they saw the level of hostility that the people are showing. Because at the same time, the local authorities are going against the people that are manifesting and protesting. The best way to act, well, to talk about that, unfortunately, we couldn't have the press conference. We send our report and all of our directors are on the social media with all of our information. And there you can find us and you can find our page. It's LULAC Council 354 in Facebook or LULAC 354 at Instagram. There you can read our article, our report that we published. Monday evening, the concentration of people in downtown Kenosha was growing. More people got involved, more people showed up. But unfortunately, the results were Mondays and then at night, up till Tuesday, till yesterday morning, there was destruction and burning of buildings. And a lot of those businesses were from families of color, of Hispanic families that had their own local business there that had just started, lots of sacrifices, just like, everything requires sacrifice in this country. And unfortunately, they lost everything that they had. The authorities came yesterday. We were there yesterday walking, talking to people that were out on the street, helping clean whatever we could. But it really left you thinking, because you think about the people that put these things in practice to be able to have their own business, but then the situation that we're living in, those are also very unfortunate. And with what happened with the shooting to Mr. Blake, that was so tragic. And the motive, like the way that the police showed up to try to handle the way that they handled the situation. And then unfortunately, we've seen the results. And now there's all these physical damage, material damage. You saw that yesterday there were armed citizens walking in the streets at night. And one of those citizens, lots of people saying he has a certain age or that he's younger. I don't want to mention it because I don't want to give misinformation, bad information, but that citizen, he took at least the life of two people, and those were the unfortunate results from him and in yesterday's protests. So let's talk a little bit about our participants. Let's remind them about rallying and protesting. Most of them are peaceful. But what happens of this is that sometimes the injustice and the rage lose their calm, and so they do destructive things because of the frustration. And there are people that do take advantage of these situations. To remind you guys, this has always existed in the movement. There are people that are enemies of the protest, and they do things to hurt the manifestation. So before you're gonna judge, so before you judge, how do you say that? Yeah, how to judge? You got to think about people that are so frustrated if they feel like they have enemies. But at the end of the day, it's another tragedy. And how many other lives have been affected? How many other lives have been lost? So we got to remember that. And another tragedy is the hit that the businesses take. Like you said, the businesses are suffering. There has to be a way to identify businesses that are like community based, so that those people, so that nobody damages it. Just to be more careful, knowing that this is a community space. I wanted to share something and see how you feel about it. Did you see that the governor made an announcement, a press conference with everything that happened? And then there was another press conference or announcement that he was going to send some National Guard troops. Sorry. Excuse me. That he was going to send the National Guard for security to the critical places. So then he announced again more troops because of what happened. Have you seen the presence of the National Guard? And how is it going? How are they acting? From your point of view? With the governor's announcements, he's always had good communication. The office has always been very transparent, and we've always been informed about everything that's happening. They'll call us, they'll let us know, they let us know that the National Guard was coming to protect structures for the safety of the city, and that's what happened. Unfortunately, I think the National Guard, from what I've seen, they have a certain limit of where they can interfere. So some cases they were able to protect some infrastructure, but in other situations they weren't able to because of where, like, the fires and the destructions of the local businesses, where the structures are that the government considers important, like the police department, the courts, the municipal buildings. There's a distance, and it's getting there, it's 5-10 minutes, but walking, it's a pretty significant distance. You gotta, 15-20 minutes to get there. And so then they have to leave their spots to be able to get there. So it gets complicated for them. But yes, we have seen their presence. So have you seen a conflict between the protesters and the National Guard? No, 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 no. Not what I've seen. They've pretty much has only been there to act, if somebody starts, destroying something, they will go to a certain zone to protect the building, a government building, things like that. But I haven't seen any acting like that. I think from all of the officials, from the sheriff and the police, they've been the ones that are on, like, the front lines. So are you seeing a lot of troops or no? Of the officials? Yeah, of course. Of course. You can see them with all of their riot gear, and you can see them in between all the protests. And I do want to clarify, when they're in their riot gear, it's from when the curfew starts, because all over the city you have to be at home at 8 at night. That's when the curfew is. That's when you see more police presence in the streets. Yeah, because the governor announced, the state of emergency and the curfew. And the officials, were they using the rubber bullets? Did they use those? How do you say that in Spanish? Okay, thank you. Did they use gas, or what I have observed, what I've seen? Those materials that have not been used by the police, there is tear gas and pepper spray, obviously, like rubber and plastic bullets. They have all of those as options. But we had a confrontation Monday when we were trying to go to the press conference, and we couldn't get into the building. And one of the other presidents, one of my other members of LULAC, he was trying to go into the building, like I said, for the press conference, and one of the police got pepper sprayed in the face. So we don't know exactly what the motive was, but going off of what my teammate tells me, he showed the phone to show him that he was supposed to be inside for a press conference, and he showed his name. I'm here on the roster, but nope, he said no, and then he got pepper sprayed. Has the alderman or anybody made any announcements? We haven't heard that. I believe they did. I think it was on like PBS. They made an announcement. I think they were calling. They said they just wanted the community to follow the curfew, which is exactly what we want. We want everything to be in order. If the protests are specific, we don't want destruction. Obviously, it's very bothersome how everything is happening with the authorities. We want an investigation, clear and transparent, that shows the dates and the facts. And more than that, we want them to value humanity. That's why people are specifically protesting. But the use of different motives, we think that should be the last option. The protest should be specific and peaceful, but we also take into consideration that there are situations when people congregate and get together and they're talking, and you're at a park and there's lots of people. Sometimes, like I said before, it's not so peaceful anymore. The police chief, has he communicated with you guys about what they're doing, what he's doing, about the officers that were involved? Obviously the one that was there shooting, but the other ones that were in the event, have they said anything? Yeah, approximately 1:30 this afternoon. They were on Channel 1 on Spectrum News, and they talked with the mayor and the chief of police and the sheriff. Most of the National Guard was there too, and some other representatives from the city, and they were talking. The chief police said that the officers involved, that were originally involved in what happened with Mr. Blake, are under administrative leave. That's practically that they can't leave the police department, but they are investigating, and that the police aren't doing the investigation, but an external organization. And then when they have more information, they'll let us know. But that the investigation is ongoing. We also know that the family of Mr. Blake and their representatives, they also did a press conference, and they shared their thoughts and their point of view about everything that's happening. Also, we're going to have to make the connection. This is an event, but it's not an event. It's not a it's not a single event. I mean, this has happened all over the nation. This is part of the reform that is needed for the police. What is Kenosha doing about police reform? And then I want to ask a little bit about how this all connects into racial justice. So first, in Kenosha, what are they doing about police reform? Here, we're super involved in that process. Yeah, actually, in Kenosha, in these moments, we haven't heard anything. I can imagine that it will exist, especially after this incident that just occurred. It sets a precedent in Kenosha. And obviously, things aren't working like they're supposed to. Use of of violence by all these officials with a suspect. Maybe in this case, they consider him a criminal. It shouldn't be using violence as your first choice. They should have different ways to handle the situation, to stabilize the situation, to solve the problem. And some understanding that violence isn't what we consider to be the solution. And definitely we are completely supportive of a police reform, because the way that things are happening now, I'm not saying all of them, but the way that certain officials and police officials are acting all over the country is not the best. Yeah, security and safety should be at the front. This isn't an attack of individual police, because we know there are good cops. The problem is the history in this nation with racism and social justice, and the structures, systems, practices. Those are the problems. They manifest. So I wanted to clarify that, because I know there are some people that could get offended, because I have some nephews that are cops. But we're not talking about each individual. We're talking about the system. So we're going to have to pay attention to what's happening. The Department of Justice is investigating. And also, if you guys have a police and fire commission, that's the body of the authority, because they make up the laws for the police here, at least. And they're the supervisors of the chief of police. So that's a way that the community can be involved, and we can, put our heads together and to come out ahead and to think about security and police reform and keep fighting together for racial justice. Yoger, how can they communicate with you, LULAC? What's the best way? Yeah, of course. You can find us on Facebook. We're LULAC Council 354. And then you'll see our profile on Facebook. Or you can find us on our page on Instagram also. LULAC 354. You can find us on Instagram as well. Is there a cost to participate in the activities that you guys have? At a national level, there is, all of the information is on the page at lulac.org. But to participate in like local activities, events, or just come and help and volunteer, no, there's no cost. We're here to serve the community and to collaborate with everybody. So if you want to be a member, is there a cost? Yeah, if you want to be a member, all the costs are on our page at lulac.org. And then you can see all the fees and the information about the cost. And before we say goodbye, obviously people that speak Spanish, they can have access. It's available in English and in Spanish, right? Yes. Yes. We have in our council people that are bilingual. And so at the same time, our page is also in English and Spanish. Resources are in English and Spanish. And we always are here doing whatever we can to help the community in all aspects. All right. You guys have heard it. If you're in Kenosha, if you want to help, you should communicate with Yoger at LULAC on Instagram or on Facebook. We really appreciate you being with us, especially at this last minute. Thank you, Tammy. And I just wanted to say a quick message to the community in this moment. It is important for us as a Latino, as a member of the community, to support one another, because like the saying says, strength in numbers, right? It is frustrating because of what's happening with the businesses, and people have feelings, but also take into consideration that we have to support each other to try and keep the protests specific and peaceful, and talk to your elected officials, your representatives, to your mayors, to the different groups in the community, because they represent different districts and groups across the city. And they're the ones that can represent the people, and they need to listen to everybody all across the city. So it's super important. Don't forget about your elected officials. They represent us. Let them know your complaints, your worries. We live here. We pay taxes. We need our representatives to know. Very true. We appreciate you, Yoger, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Yes, of course. Have a good afternoon. Bye. Thank you so much. Very excellent report from Kenosha. I know it affects all of us. We need to be there with them too. So I was going to share from yesterday's celebration for 100th episode, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow because today we're going to run out of time. And I know that what we're talking about is much more important. So I'm going to invite, I'm going to put the video from the coronavirus update where Gabby is interviewing Dr. Arana. Gabby is interviewing Dr. Arana. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for being here with us. Today I have Dr. Amelia Arana with us, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about coronavirus and going back to school. How are you feeling today, doctor? Very good. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for being with us. So, can you tell us, is it safe for kids to go back to school? Well, since we're still looking at the cases positive in the community, still a little high, like you've heard in the news the past 2 weeks. They are going down, but this area of Milwaukee, we still have a higher rate of positivity, especially where we work. All of the schools are starting virtually. And then we also offer doctor appointments virtually. And then when the rates of COVID go down a little more, in some areas, the schools will open so that they can tell us, okay, it's good, kids can come back. There is mandatory masks covering the nose and the mouth, and then, of course, the social distancing. And then, of course, cleaning of all the classrooms and frequent hand washing too. Very good. The clinic is the clinic working together with the schools, or we are working with lots of different schools here in Milwaukee. We're also working with the department, the health department, virtually. And then, so we're looking at another model where we're going to have half of the groups in the school and half of the groups doing work from home or virtually. So if you need an appointment, just give us a call, especially about COVID-19, just call and register and we can get you taken care of. Oh, good. It's great to see that you guys are on top of it. I know that sometimes, even though the rules, distance, masking, it can be difficult for kids. Yes. The masks is mandatory for everybody over 2 years. The little ones, obviously, they don't have to under 2 years of age. And why is that? Because the 2-year-old is going to be touching the mask and they're going to be contaminating their hands and their mask, and it's really not going to help prevent anything. It could actually be a source of infection. And then if they're moving it all over their face, it really doesn't work. There's really no protection. It's not really practical. But there's nothing true about like them not getting oxygen or anything like that. It's just that they're just little and they don't tolerate this mask in the correct way that it needs to be in. So what are the most important things that families can do to protect their kids and other members of their family if their kids go back to school? Well, each school is going to have their own protocol to make sure that the kids coming into school don't have symptoms. If your kid has cough, chills, headache, sneezing, if they start feeling bad, don't send them to school. Because when they get to school, they're going to be sent back home, and then you're going to have to make an appointment for them, and then we're going to have to do the testing for COVID-19. So it can look like a cold. Cough, congestion, sore throat, things like that, maybe a headache. Some older kids may say that they can't smell or taste things. Some say they feel absolutely fine, but they have a fever. None of them should go to school. They should all be tested for coronavirus. Okay, so sick kids stay home and make an appointment at a clinic for a test. What about if somebody in the family is sick? Can the kid go to the school if somebody in their family is sick? If somebody in the family is sick, then that's a positive contact. We want you guys to understand the difference. What it means, just to be close to someone who's positive, but more in like medical terms, what is a positive contact? You've been close to them for more than 15 minutes. If one of you two didn't have the mask on, and you were in a distance of less than 6 feet. So if you meet those things, those 3 requirements, less than 6 feet, no masks, and then you're considered to be a positive contact. And that's when you need to be tested. At home, if somebody's positive and you live with them, it checks off all those boxes and you should get tested. And then they have to be in isolation for 14 days until you make sure that there is no coronavirus. So contact is 14 days at home. And then if they're sick and there's no contact known at home, that's when you should be in quarantine for 10 days since the symptoms started. But if there's no symptoms and somebody at the house is positive, then you wait your 14 days. Got it. What do we know about kids and the transmission of coronavirus? Well, we know that Usually it's mild nasal congestion. Kids have been recuperating really great. Not many have needed hospitalization. And there are very few cases of serious cases. There's also a multisystemic inflammatory disease. In those kids, the kids usually have a fever. They can't breathe. That is a severe disease, and that usually requires hospitalization. We have only seen a very few number of those cases, but we have seen all of those kids recuperating very well. Excellent. Now, I'm sorry, the audio cut out for 1 second. Oh, people with pre-existing health conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure. Some people, and those folks, it can present in a more severe case. If you're in treatment for any kind of a disease, older people, that's when there can be more complications. Very good information. Thank you very much for being with us. Like I mentioned earlier, it is super important for everybody to know about all this. Is there anything else that you want to share about flu shots or anything? Very important. Everybody get their vaccines. There is not a vaccine for COVID-19 yet. That's still being investigated. Lots of scientific teams are trying to create a vaccine. But we hope that soon they will have a vaccine. But we do have a flu vaccine that we do know protects people. And that is super important. We have a vaccine available. We're going to start getting it in the next few weeks. And everybody should do their part to fight against the flu too. If the kids need their vaccines, we can also help with that too. We don't want them to get behind on their vaccines because of what's happening. We would hate for something to come back up like measles or anything terrible like that. So give your doctor a call or your clinic a call. And then, especially if you call one of our clinics, it would be our pleasure to make you an appointment. So for these services, are there any cost? Not for any of the coronavirus tests, physical checks, or anything like that. That depends on your insurance or the discount if you don't have insurance. And then we also have help like financial resources too. Because remember, although you probably heard it lots of times already, use your mask, especially older folks. Don't share your pen or your mask. Keep your social distance, 6 feet at least. And we hope that will keep us healthy throughout this whole pandemic. Thank you for your time, for your dedication, and for being on our community forum. And we hope to speak to you soon. Thank you. You too. Thank you, Gabby and Dr. Arana. Let me say hi really quick and see if anybody's saying hi to us or anybody has any questions or comments. Hello, Diana. Hello, Dulce. Hello, Stacy. Trini says, very great presentation. Somebody else left a message. It was very powerful, talking about the movement. So now let's keep going for our next segment of the forum. And let's bring back Gabby with us. Hello, Maria Gallegos. She is with our civic department, and she's going to talk about the census. Hello, Maria. We're going to start with our update for the census. Yay. So right now, since Monday, we're outside of Array and Food Mart from 10 to 12. And right now, I'm at the location on Cesar Chavez. We've helped about 55 people. And today we've had 18. We want to be able to spend more time here next week. We do have English and Spanish. And hopefully we're going to be at the other array on 13th and Burnham. And we can help people fill them out. And we know it's hot. We're also at the food pantry from 12:30 till 3 in the afternoon, helping people organize things and, just keep moving forward because we're serving the community. Thank you so much for your dedication. I know that it's a really, really important job. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Do you know where you're going to be next week? Yeah. Next week, we're going to be at Array, but we're going to go. Oh, yeah, you already said. Sorry. Yeah, I'll be with somebody else, and he'll be with somebody else, and then we'll just continue helping people. So there are some people that say no, that they don't want to do it, and then we try to explain. So we remind them the reasons. There are older folks, and we've told them, and then they'll understand, okay, now I see why I need to do it. Sit down, we'll help you right here. We have a table. And we help them understand. Oh, I'm sorry. It's cutting out a little bit. Yeah, let me show you. Oh, I'm moving the camera so that you guys can see. There's our table. You can see my colleague over there. So you can see this is where we are right now in front of Array on Cesar Chavez Drive. We also have another side, like a banner, but because we're having some air issues right now, but this is where you can find us. Well, thank you very much, Maria. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Yeah, of course. Thank you for always inviting us. So now I only have a little update about what's happening the rest of the week. Just a reminder that tomorrow there is a Police and Fire Commission meeting at 5:30. And then I also want to remind you that there is a budget questionnaire, budget survey, so that you can indicate what areas do you want to be prioritized for next year. And then there's also a presentation this afternoon at 5 o'clock about the budget for 2021. It's online. on the city channel. I can find the link and share it with you guys so you have access. And then also you can watch it on TV, channel 25 and Spectrum at 5 in the afternoon. And like always, you can register to vote or get your absentee ballot on the website that we've shared in the comments section. You can always find it in the comments. So you can go, you can register to vote. There you go. On the screen, you see it as well. So I know it's been a long program, but it's been an important program. It was a great conversation that Tammy and you had. It was very necessary. So that's it. I'm going to hand it back to Tammy. Thank you again, Gabby and Maria, for all your information. So don't miss tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be focusing a little more on a COVID update. And we're going to have Jamal Smith, the Office of Violence Prevention. And then Friday, we're going to look at more of the programs and services that SOC offers and the leadership and the community leadership. And when we're going to have the new police captain with us, Captain Salazar. Please. I'm going to ask Marisol to remind us about the questionnaire. Was this forum useful for you? What part of the forum can we improve or change to make it better? Let us know. Respond to our questionnaire. You can find the link in the comment section. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Marisol. We want to share that we are in solidarity with the protesters and their families. Now we do have a group that went from Milwaukee to Washington. Maria Hamilton, the mom of Dontre Hamilton. Oh, she's going to meet up over there. And then also for you guys to know that our thoughts are with everybody, especially the people that are out there and that have been affected by coronavirus, or if you've lost a loved one. We just want you to know that we're with you. Thank you. Stay safe. And now we're going to say thank you to our sponsors. Hello, SOC viewers. I'm Marisol Diaz, Communications Manager. We would like to thank you all for supporting our program and for completing our survey. We also want to give thanks to all of our sponsors. Wisconsin Voices, Community Development Block Grants, Neo Philanthropy State Infrastructure Fund, Movement Voter Project, Catholic Campaign for Human Development, Zilber Foundation, City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, Tides Foundation, Employ Milwaukee, and all of the faithful people that have supported SOC by their personal donations. Thank you.